Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about St. John of the Cross, or San Juan de la Cruz, as he was known in Spain. He lived around the time of St. Teresa, which we've covered in another video, St. Teresa of Avila. St. John was heavily influenced by Teresa, and in fact he was going to become, I think, a Carthusian monk. He ended up becoming a Carmelite and setting up a group of friars because of his love for St. Teresa and the way that she approached the Carmelite order. And in fact, both of them became reformers of the Carmelite order. And they moved the Carmelite order towards more meditative and contemplative methods, unlike the way the vocal prayers that are used in the other orders. They used a much more meditative way or approach to working with the Spirit. St. John was a prolific writer. He wrote quite poetically, and he wrote about meditation in a way that many others from that period have not done. So he's one of the earliest sort of romantic writers about meditation. He talks about the three different steps to meditation. St. John's method of meditation was to, first of all, either read a passage or to take a thought that was interesting and stimulating, and to then contemplate that biblical passage or thought train. And then to go into a period of quiet solitude beyond that contemplative and discursive form of meditation, to move into that place of absolute peace and eventually union with God, as he termed it, an ecstatic union with God. So they were the three steps that St. John had in his meditative process. So he talks about the transformation of the soul from a simple soul affected by the whims of daily life and to one that is a supernatural soul. And he describes the supernatural soul as having great wisdom, great depth of knowledge, and having overcome those things that stop you from being a virtuous individual. Overcoming your demons or overcoming your negative emotions and negative thoughts. So St. John is very interesting in the way that he talks about this ecstasy and this union with God and with Christ. St. John is one of the first people to really describe in great detail the meditation experience, where he talks about overcoming your senses. So the senses fall into the background, and as we know from other forms of meditation, mindfulness meditation, calming meditation, and the science around that, you become less involved in your emotions and your feelings. And they sort of pass into the background as your mind starts to develop. St. John also recommends that you develop a daily habit. So like St. Teresa, he was saying, you really need to establish this daily habit, because that's what's going to happen. And again, the science confirms this, that with that daily habit, the mind can actually change and become less involved in the daily minutiae and less affected by it, and more able to deal with things in a rational way with equanimity, so that the soul becomes the guiding light rather than the emotions. So one of the things that St. John said was, "There is hope for the meditator who persists. Even though we do not seem to be making progress, we are advancing much faster than we think." And in his words, God is carrying you through this period of time to a unity with God and to overcoming those emotions through ecstasy, but also through just hard slogging through the meditation, not letting the thoughts overcome you, and to move forward as an individual who is more guided by the soul. St. John quotes Ecclesiastes, which says that the words of wisdom are experienced in silence. From Ecclesiastes 9:17. Another thing that's really important for Christians, because the church often has distanced itself from lay people meditating. There are comments in the mainstream Christian literature that say that this contemplative meditation techniques and the techniques that say, for example, of St. Ignatius of Loyola or St. Teresa or St. John, that these techniques are really for seminarians. They're not for the average people. And I'm not sure that St. John agreed with that. His comments are that meditation is really important for all, and that it is through going back to meditation that even the most experienced spiritual person needs to return on a frequent basis. And so establishing that daily habit of meditation is really key for Christians. So to recap, St. John had the three methods or three steps to meditation: taking a seed thought or passage from the Bible, contemplating on that, so entering a state of contemplative meditation where you're actually discursing that with God, discussing it, trying to understand what that passage meant, and then finally entering into a state of quiet peace, which is sometimes a state of ecstasy, but other times just a state of neutrality, and that through this you overcome the emotions and the feelings, and that you become a more virtuous individual, someone with equanimity, someone who has compassion and love for others at their very root. St. John is quoted as saying that meditation in this way is essential for union with God. And so if lay people are going to try to develop a unity with God, they need to meditate. And that's one of the essential messages that comes out of so many of these early Christian writings about meditation, but about Christianity generally. Be well, be happy, meditate.